All right, I think I'm ready for you. Welcome everyone. Welcome to another tournament stream of mine. It's been a while since the qualification stage. Yeah, I did not stream any other tournaments in the past days, but I'm glad to be able to get this this option here to help out Wild One's helper while he is not able to stream the Asian tournament. I am really glad to be here and have that invite to get this epic stream today. Yeah, I don't really know yet what we are going to see. I just know we are going to see round 1 and 2. I don't know which teams. But I think we should be fine, right? And yeah, I've got to admit, I have not seen too many Asian streams recently. I'm rather on the EU side, but okay. It will be very interesting to see a comparison of the meta there and see whether teams are able to pull off the same kind of stuff as the EU teams. And also, like, yeah, Asian meta. I know the Asian server is still the youngest, and in the past, the Asian clan war scene has steadily improved. Okay, let's see. I do not have any invite just yet. Will still take a few minutes until we are there. I could still quickly head over and see the tournament page, because this is what we are going to see today. This is Group 1 and of actually Group 1. It is, yeah, the Group 1, and we're going to see first and second game, obviously. So starting in about 8 minutes. There is a 3-minute delay, of course, on the stream. That's the minimum that I could take without people being able to stream snipe. But yeah, in about an hour then we are going to see the second game. Yeah, lots of big names I still recognize from the past seasons and past years. Timo, okay, that one did not get renamed. I did not see this one yet. Interesting wargaming. All right. I remember E7 was quite good. Feast also was quite good. I've seen a ranking already. And I hope we're going to see some good games. I don't know yet which games we are going to stream today. It's a little bit of an issue here. But all right. Let's just relax and start into the stream. And see what is going to await us there in a couple of minutes. I mean, so far, I don't have much info. And yeah, that's my epic garage here of a tier light tank. Unfortunately, I have to create an account for every server that I'm streaming on, but okay. I'm probably not going to play this one. Would be like too much grinding, and I just hope that the ping is also right. Like I do know there's a little bit of ping involved on the Asian server. It's like the farthest or the furthest server to me. The test games on the, I mean, I had to go for the introduction, of course. Those were kind of okay. There were no ping issues. I can still turn down. Ah, congratulations, you have received 250 gold. Nice. I don't know what for. No idea why I just received gold. Okay. I think I still have to turn down the music volume a little bit. Another music effects. Because I have adjusted my overall audio. Okay. I hope we're fine to go like this. Yeah, just waiting for the invite right now. Ah, we got it. We got it. We're going to see Feast versus ID. Okay, those names, they ring a bell for me. I am aware of those teams and of those teams' skills. And they have proven themselves in the past already. Okay, what I'm quickly going to do still is see if we can open a strat real quick, so you can see what we're going to see there. We are on Black Goldville, our first map. Briefing name. Okay. So, yeah, I gotta adjust that just a little bit. Ah, come on, move. I think that should be fine. I'll quickly check. Nah, it's not ready. Okay, let's move it up again. I just hope that the lower part is also visible to you. No, I cannot check really, because I have only 2 screens, which is not enough. For tournament streaming, apparently you need 3 screens or more. But okay. I mean, I already am using my iPad for the control of my streaming software. So I do have 3 screens in front of me. But yeah, I'm getting to the limits there. Alright, so we are starting on Black Goldville. I really hope that you are able to see everything, because there was an update of the browser there, which may have messed up a couple of things. I don't know. Safari is looking slightly different now. But we are on Black Goldville. So what we are usually seeing on this map is, like, I can show you here, Black Goldville, the desert, one of the desert maps. Often we are seeing some spotter here in the middle area. Very symmetrical map, so it works for both sides. Getting in the spots on anyone crossing over there. Vickers would also often be positioned over here to get in spots like this. Decapping positions on A are very often seen, at least on the EU server and an A server as well, because mostly teams are lined up rather passively like this. They don't really want to go too aggressive. If you want to go for the A corner, you really have to commit to it. Otherwise you might get caught out if the enemies are all there. Then you might just have... Ooh, that was loud. That was loud. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I can't even see it right now. Okay, it doesn't read the text, but thanks a lot. I will have to look up afterwards. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, often like positions like this are chosen at the start of the battle, because committing to C or to A, you would have to recommit all the tanks there, or your tanks there. Otherwise, you might just die if the enemies are all there. And if you are doing so, if you are really going for a one-sided strat, then you'll leave B for free to get captured by the enemies. Also, well, the enemies might just get double cap. So that's a little bit of a risky thing there. On EU server recently, we've also seen like some very light setups being picked by BPS, with a lot of lights there, like double bedsheet and an Object 907. For just having map control, rotating all around, getting in crossfire, getting captures, getting bases, and so on. So will be interesting to see what this is going to show us. So let's see the lineups here. M60 on the side of Feast, triple I7, maybe double 50B. They are most likely just preeming a city, and Vickers for the spots. Quadruple M60, 1 Vickers, nice 7, and an E100 for the team ID. So, E100 also most likely rather going for the city, but it might also be some unexpected push through the middle with an E100, like through the container area. We will see. We will see. Juicy. There's another juicy there. Lots of juicies in this game, apparently. Let's head up on the way. And speed up a little bit. Yeah, 50 Bs moving towards C. That's kind of what I would expect them to do, to just maybe stay here. Yeah, they are staying here, waiting for the spots of the Vickers Light. If there would be anyone crossing into the city area, then these 50 Bs were ready to shoot him out. But the Vickers most likely not even getting spotted and just being very passive there. Not really risking anything. Oh, that's a very aggressive move here by this I7 Gayam. Already around the B cap. Whenever Feast is pulling back, he will be able to get the B cap for free. Some HE shots flying in already. But so far, I don't think it is really the best option to drop into C, because there is Spartan 617 and Bifrost lined up to decap. But there are quite a lot of tanks here from ID in the middle area. Those I7s from Feast though being passive enough to hold. But ID is bleeding a little bit. I'm not really gaining any advantage by that, but maybe they have found F Silver here and they have found this option to push onto him. That would actually be possible, as the Vickers Light cannot really escape, and also he does really not have a lot of armor nor hit points. So it might be an option for ID, but they keep losing hit points, which is clearly not in their favor. So if ID really committed to the push, they might be successful finding this Vickers and this Cucumber okay, quite isolated here. But the Vickers just rotated out, is now out of trouble. Feast having a very packed formation here, and just, yeah, they are close to each other, they can support each other. That's what you're aiming for. Also losing a bit of hit points here and there. The E100 also putting in big shot into Spartan here. Where are the cap points? Actually, cap points are on the side of ID. They were first to drop into A, and now they have also a little bit better map control, to be honest. Although not really having a lot more hit points on the field. They keep doing bad trades here, keep losing hit points, like Kampong. Okay, Kampong losing a lot of hit points here with this M6 here. You should be a little bit careful, as he does not have the tremendous turret armor. Kukamin is pushing into him now, and has maybe found the weak spot here of the team ID. Of course, the IS-7 is going to suffer a little bit, but he is maybe able to kill off the M6. And that was also a good push onto this E100. I have not seen how this guy went down so quickly. It was the AMX 50B platoon, basically, here in the city area that shot him out. But they are now also in huge trouble here, just not having any armor and trying to still run away. But they are in a 2 versus 3 situation here, and they are most likely going to go down very soon here. Juicy still having 1 shot in the chamber, and he is on 400 hit points. No, it's actually the M6 you're going down first. The AMX 50B may be able to reload for another clip, and ID only has 3 tanks left. One of them is very isolated over here, not really able to survive any longer. Although ID is now able to take the second base, I don't think they have many chances here of winning this game anymore. Let's see what's going on here. The M6 here, yeah, in a horrible position to survive for too long. Yeah, there are a lot of low hit point tanks for Feast as well. Yet, this won't be enough. It won't be enough for ID to turn this one around. Vickers, the last man standing. Spartan SWAT. Yeah, bouncing on the currently or recently improved IS-7 armor. But yeah, there's nothing that he could do. He's still try-harding for his life. But he won't be able to win this game anymore. Putting in a last kill shot, and that's it. There he goes up in flames. All right. I don't want to buy Premier account. Lots of new friend requests here, but sorry guys, I'm not going to play this account. I just don't have I don't want to grind all the tanks on this account. Not going to accept any friend requests here. I mean, I could, but okay, it's not really necessary, I think. All right, so yeah, what we've seen here basically was just basically as expected, 50 Bs moving over here, getting in the crossfire, Vickers on the other side spotting over there. While there was one Vickers spot in the middle area. The 100, I don't know, the initial position also stay like close to B. Very aggressive move by Team ID here, just heading straight into the middle. Yeah, Feast got trapped in a little area here, but ID just did a lot of bad trades, to be honest. They lost a lot of hit points at the start already by not gaining any mentionable advantage here, especially those tanks. Of course, they are in a lot of trouble here. They are very aggressive positions. They can get shot from over there, from over there, from over there. So if they want to cover properly, it's going to be difficult for them. But yet, if they were a little bit more careful about the hit points, they did have a serious chance because of just having the map control here. They also had the option to just push this area here. There were two tanks isolated, which were very hard to support by the Feast guys. Let's move over to the next game. Okay. So what are we going to get on this one? Feast again with 150B at least. Yeah, 150B this time only. FE42 also. And Vickers Light doubling up on the mobility on this game. Triple I7s here. Heading straight towards C. Okay, interesting choice. Vickers and M60 will stay in the middle. AMX 50B responsible for the BD capping shots. Maybe not the best tank for this, as he does not have the turret armor, but of course his job is mainly to just go for some decaps, and the choice was on the 50B just for the rotation purpose later on in the game. That would be super helpful here for the team Feast. But ID, having moved into A now, will face a cap disadvantage with Feast having the option to capture B. No one there for decapping that base. The E100 here clearly not in position to do so. If he goes a little bit more aggressive, he might find himself in a lot of trouble if he gets crossfired from the other side. But actually Feast has already pulled back. No tanks on C anymore. Only this I7 here. Who is in a very aggressive position here. I would say so because, like, you know, he might get shot from the left side. He's well aware of that. The Vickers might just flank around and shoot him into the side. That's what he is already afraid of judging by his movement here. Turning towards the left. M60 got spotted on the rotation. FE42 getting a little bit in trouble here. Maybe that is too aggressive for the FE42. No, the M60 not shooting him out just yet. But the M60 and the Vickers are going for it. They are going aggressive. So is the E100, which is way too aggressive for this E100 here. Is getting shot down to a one shot now. No, not going down just yet. The I7, not known for its best accuracy, missing a shot, but it is the I7 from the other side. Now shooting the back of the E100 here. That was maybe a little bit too much to handle for this E100 there, but also one I7 of the team Feast just got wrecked here. Over here it was, yeah, push in, push going on here. Lani pushing onto the 50B, having the option to kill him very soon, actually. 1k hit points, he would need some big high rolls, though. Otherwise, he might still struggle there. Vika's Light in the middle of the map, also not having a lot of hit points anymore. 5k hit points on both sides. It's very hard to call what is going on. So many separate fights here. This point here, yeah, Bifrost going to get the kill shot here. But he is also about to go down very soon. 50B meanwhile got killed. It is 4 versus 5. Hit points, yeah, now in the favor of Feast and also the cap points. Because of the initial double cap of B and C. It put a lot of pressure on Team ID there. It was just a really messy game there with lots of pushes in different areas. And yeah, it was different to keep the difficult to keep the overview. E100 here going very aggressive just in the middle of the map. I was not too sure about this move. Maybe there would have been better options to do so for him. Okay. Yeah, this one was clearly very difficult to call. All right. Let's head over to the next map, which is going to be Dynasty's Pearl. Dynasty's Pearl. Yeah, very heavy focused map, having yeah, a lot of city area, not a lot of map area in total, because most of the map is covered by houses, except for the park area. But yeah, people like to go with a lot of super heavies on this map as well, as you can see already on the lineup there by ID double E100 and a mouse, double IS7, double M6. Ooh. Okay, that's going to be a lot of hit points on the field for them. Also, Feast is going quite heavy here with a double VK90, triple M6, double I7. Interesting. VK90s clearly quite strong with their armor, troll armor, but yeah, maybe not as reliable as a mouse, because you don't have like the hit points and the bouncy sides to just move in. But the VK90s definitely have their place. If they are facing a mouse, the VK90s will clearly win on the trades every time. All right. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's head up. So, Team ID moving towards the city, Team Feast moving towards the city, which means they are going to meet in the middle of the map. IS7s spotting each other. First shots flying in. Oh, Campon here, super aggressive, already losing 2 shots worth of hit points, but now he is in a position where he is very hard to counter. But no, actually the M6s might just immediately get to his back and shoot him out. Ooh, that position here. Okay, shots missing, or at least 1 shot missing. And ID is set up to have the perfect crossfire here. If Team Feast is pushing the IS7 at the front down, ID will have a lot of crossfire onto them, but I don't think it's worth it. I really don't think it's worth it. The M6 is still rushing in, trying to shield here. That's maybe not the best option for him. But also the M6 kind of isolated themselves on the Team Feast side. But one guy went down for Feast though, and 3 guns are already out of the fight for Team ID. This push here really not working out as they would have hoped for. They are already at 3k hit points disadvantage. Yeah, there can unlock one of Feast going down. Oops, let's not drive into this house here. Mouse getting focused here by Team ID, but it's not really too important for Feast anymore, because they have a really comfortable hit point advantage of 2k. Gap is narrowing down though. I don't know. but ID only has 2 tanks left. It is not working out for ID here. A very aggressive move at the start. I don't think it was that perfect. They had something in mind, just sending in the I7 aggressively towards the front and having everyone else being set up to cover the I7, but they did not think of the MS6 just driving here and shooting the back of the I7. They clearly missed out on this kind of option, I guess. Maybe also not having the firepower to really make up for the losses. I mean, they did have the E100s, of course. Not a lot of DPM though. Maybe not a lot, not enough clippers either. And also, of course, they did not have the option to focus fire. That was the issue there mostly. That ID just sent in 1 tank, which could easily get focused out, while Feast, although going a bit more aggressive, they could still shield each other. They were moving as a pack and just having one gun next to another. If one of them was being low, he could just retreat. Okay. Just need a quick break for drinking, so I'm not losing my voice. Are we going to see Navi 42? That would be interesting. Would definitely be nice. And apart from that, no FE. Yes, it's going to be Navi. Apart from that, double VK90 still on the field. A mouse now also for Feast. Triple I7 and the FE42. ID is rocking triple I7 double mouse E100 and 1 M6 meanwhile. Will be interesting to see whether this FE42 is working out, but it is 3-0 for Feast at this point, and we are in a best of 7. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure of it. And that means Feast would only have to win 1 more game. I was quite sure of it being a best of 7, but now as I'm saying that, I'm not so sure anymore. Might be best of 9 as well, but yeah, I guess it's the best of 7. Okay, the FE42 just offering this insane mobility advantage to Feast, as yeah, ID does not have any mediums or light tanks on the field. So the FE42 possibly is able to just capture base C, or just, as Dynasty's Pro rarely ever is about cap points, he will just be able to flank around the map, get in crossfire from difficult angles for ID to handle it. Are we going to see a decap? Does not look like it. The mouse will be careful about overcommitting here. Oh, Silver almost showing his rear to the mouse there, but that's not going to happen. The mouse pulling back while the rest of Team ID is moving in. They have seen that there are 2 VK90s isolated in the front, and they will try to push in here. Question is whether ID is capable of doing so, if Feast is able to hold these tanks here and support them enough. The lower VK90 already falling back, which is just perfect, but the next VK90 still getting focused by lots of tanks here, while the mouse on the other side got ignored, but also there is another mouse here being focused in the middle area by another 4 tanks, and then there will be another mouse maybe getting focused, otherwise he is able to farm. Hit points quite close to each other. Team ID at a slight disadvantage here. but they may have the better formation, especially as the mouse is getting focused, but they would have to really put out some damage now before the mouse is going down, but no, the mouse went down first at F Silver. F Silver getting deleted off the field, great focus fire here by Team ID, but I don't know if that is enough. They just lost a ton of hit points in no time. Feast doing a very strong counter push here while their VK90s got focused. Really nice job there, especially also on the retreating of the VK90. And it's not looking to be in ID's favor anymore. E100 and an IS-7 are the last ones alive. Still trying to get the VK90, but that's not going to work out anymore. Okay, he gets in one shot. VK90 now being a possible one shot to the 100, who may have just missed his shot. I've heard his shot, but yeah. This is not going to work out anymore for Team ID. I'm not too sure what happened there that it would not work out. I will have a look at it after the game. I think we still have plenty of time, as it was quite a quick game so far. Well, maybe it's also best of 9 and we're still going to see some games. Alright. Feast here being very dominant so far. Really very dominant and destroying Team ID. VK90 here being able to farm 5k damage and surviving, although he was the one to get focused by Team ID. I don't know if there were a lot of misses and bounces involved there. This VK went down a lot sooner. Penetrations received 9, but of course also the track shots are counted there that are not inflicting any damage. Hits received only 7. Only 7 and 2 bounces. That may have saved his life. Yeah, it was a best of 7 actually. So we do have some time until the next games are starting. What I'm going to do now is what I usually do on my tournament streams. I'm not going to watch replays of any other player except for the tournament players. And I'm just going to rewatch what I just streamed and put in some further analysis to find out what exactly happened there and point out these things that, yeah, I was maybe not able to see throughout the game. So let's quickly open the stream again and then get into the analysis. Well played to Team Feast, first of all. Would not have expected such kind of domination there over Team ID, but ID clearly also doing a lot of mistakes. Every now and then, here and there were some mistakes involved. Rolling Swarm. It was super chat. That's why I didn't. That's why I did not get any notification there. Or text was not read out. Thanks, Rolling, for the donation there. All right. Let's see. In the stream again. Play. Okay, I just messed up a little bit, but I'm ready in a second here. Can start the background music again also. All right. So we do have some time for the analysis part. Now let's head over to the desktop again, turn off the stretch screen. I have forgotten about this and not only once already. And let's get back to where we started. Okay, I'm glad to see right now that the map, the stretch screen in the middle is, yeah, somewhat fitting. Not perfect, but alright, at least you could see what I was doing. Alright. Still no game. Let's get over there. I'm not going to rewatch the whole games, although we do have probably enough time for that. We do have about 30 minutes now until the next room invite is rolling in. But yeah. Yeah, there is... we're not trying to do so because we would like to just focus on the highlights here and focus on the strats as well. For that, I also need my screen brush. All right. So we already see that ID is going super aggressive so far. Sorry, I will be ready in a second. Okay, good. So far, strats, yeah. Passive formation, as already mentioned at the start, which is what most teams prefer to do, to just go for a formation like this at the start, or ID being a bit more aggressive on that, but also like this kind of spearhead formation for spotting in the middle area and then moving on to the flanks to just have the option to just move anywhere. This is quite common on this map especially, and yeah, these guys are responsible for the spots. Also on the other side of Team ID, we could see the Vickers spotting here, not getting any spots in though, because I think, no, the 50B got spotted now, but the Vickers was in the middle, and then the 50B was able to just get C here. Otherwise, if it was a Vickers, he could have gone into C unspotted, I believe. But yeah, we could see some issue here with 3 tanks of Team ID being in the middle area already. Quite aggressive move. They would have maybe hoped to just defend B, like getting into the B cap and capturing and securing the B cap at the same time. But I think they would have maybe done better if they just sent in like a few more tanks over here. This Vickers here, you can see him over there. He is spotting up a lot, but he does not have like a ton of backup, to be honest. He does have an IS-7 behind and M60 behind, and over to the right side, wasn't there, I think? Oh, interesting. Haha. Okay, I did not know about this function yet. Okay, over there was also another M60, I believe. At least later on in the game. Right now there was... no, it's actually here. Bifrost moving up now. He's moving up to secure the Vickers, but right now, most of the tanks from Feast were spotted. ID could have simply decided to get into the back. And look what would have happened if they had done so. They would have been able to clear the Vickers, maybe. The Vickers, maybe he would have been able to escape. But if he would try to get back, then there was a Vickers over there and M60 over there. And all these guys in the middle, they could pressure. They could shoot into this area, maybe. And shoot out the Vickers while he was running. And yeah, it would be very difficult for the Vickers to survive. They could not hold up all the enemies, especially if those are heavies over there. Yeah, just moving in here. Also, the M60 would have maybe been able to put out a few shots, but the 50B does not have a lot of armor. He would not have been able to really peek out. If the 50B peeked out, or even the M60, it would be quite easy to punish them from over here, in my opinion, at least. At least the 50B was an easy target if he tried to move out. Same goes for this 50B, which would have probably rather gone over there, like we have seen later on in the game. So there was really an option here. This IS-7 also being quite isolated, also not having a lot of DPM. If these double M60s just rolled in here, they could just shoot out the Vickers, and if they moved down here, they were safe from getting shot from over there. So they could just shoot out the Vickers and the IS-7 from behind while the rest of the team rolled in from the front. They could just clear 2 tanks. They would lose some hit points, of course, but they would still have better positions, and they would have cleared 2 guns. It would have been the most important thing. Although, of course, the Feast team could meanwhile just push into the spawn and try to gain some map control back and clear those guys over there. But it would need them more time than it would have needed ID to just kill this area, if we are seeing the map right now. As we could see here, those guys are very close there. But actually it was also ID having cap point advantage. At the moment, still having hit point advantage. Or hit points neck and neck. Nope, not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore. But still, yeah, the positions here are just very aggressive. They are trading with nice 7, trying to put out shots at all costs here. And we could see them lose hit points from the start on. I don't think it was really necessary because there was no focus fire going on here. As we can see on the hit points, it was just trading, not really any push so far. So yeah, in my opinion, there should have definitely been some move actually, or just no trades at all to just get safe. Yeah, this E100 just getting caught in the open, getting killed by the 50 Bs from over there. These 50 Bs getting counter pushed, but at the same time here, the team ID is still far too aggressive in this area without really committing to anything. And like this, they could easily get counter pushed, especially as they lost a lot of hit points already. And yeah, that was it for Team ID basically, because now they did have a disadvantage over here. They did have, yeah, they did have the advantage on C, but C area or the city area here is also generally the worst position in comparison to the desert area, which just offers, a lot better map control here. All right. All right. I think that's it for this game because it was already decided. Let's move over to the next one. I still some questions on the chat there. Which tactics is better, together in one lane or splitting in different lanes? On a pro level, you never really see like teams all going to one side or the other. In the past, that may have worked out, especially WoT like doing so. But then for that, there would often be like some tanks in the back to just like 1 or 2 tanks in the back to secure the map control. Problem is, if you push the wrong side with all your tanks, then you might just, end up not finding any enemy in front. And then the push was useless. You don't have any map control. That's the point. Like, map control is so important for crossfire from lots of different angles, cap points, and yeah, getting the bases first of all. So what pro teams mostly do is like spread out passively over the whole map, rather committing to one side, like having, let's say, 70% of their forces on the one side and still some guys on the other side, like splitting up a little bit, but still focusing rather on one side. That's what we are mostly seeing in the pro tournaments. Look at the formation here that Feast is doing at this point. They do have most tanks in the C area. They do have 2 tanks in the middle. These tanks can easily rotate anywhere. This guy as well, he can, first of all, he can decap B, and he can rotate to anywhere where it's needed. There are only 3 tanks moving aggressively towards C, so there is a focus on one side or the other in this game for Feast. But they still have 1 tank over there responsible for A decaps and especially spotting A. He won't be able to decap A more than once, otherwise he would get wrecked. And if the enemies, if ID were just moving all towards C, then what Feast would do is they would just send in their tank into A or just get into the back, and then they would all be in this kind of formation, Feast team. and ID team in this area, not really able to push in. And that's why map control is so important. Like, just imagine they can shoot from tons of different angles, and it's not possible to just hide behind a little house from every angle. That you can hide from one angle, but not from more than that. That's the point of map control and crossfire here. ID right now moving in a very clustered formation here, very close to each other. This does offer the advantage of just being able to push through. If they have some isolated tanks in front of them, they are able to push them and kill them. Maybe. But this medium is just fast enough to run away. These guys can fall back and then they have the I-7s behind. But like this, they are just running into nowhere. They will just move towards A, and this guy's falling back. Then Feast does have the map control. They also have the option to get B and C like this, because ID does not really have any decapping positions right now. The E100 also here, I don't know, he was quite aggressive for being that isolated. He was really alone in the front there, as well as the Vickers. As soon as Feast knows about this, they can capture base B and C first of all, and also then they can crossfire this E100. If you are, sorry, if you are seeing the mini map and his E100's position, like, he can get shot from these angles here, from all of the Feast team. He does not have the option to really hide. He does have this little rock where he can hide and angle behind. But yeah, he will sooner or later get crossfired. But actually Feast decided to rather pull back and not keep pushing there anymore. But yeah. Feast so far, they also had this tank quite isolated. Maybe it would have been a little bit better for him to just stay closer towards C, so he would not be counter pushed that easily. Like this, he could just get pushed from behind and would not really have the information as the Vickers could outspot him. But alright, it was totally fine here. This is the move that clearly cost ID the game, in my opinion. What happened here? Let's see. 1 second. This E100 just pushed in, but there were, over here, there were 2 hull down heavies in front of him. The aim of ILD was to just send 3 tanks behind here, having the E100 push through the middle like this. We can see it on the minimap a little bit better than on the on the screen right now. But yeah, map control now surprisingly on the side of ID. Yet they just went too aggressively. They did have these 2 tanks over here, and they are actually not going for this I-7 nor the FE-42. They are just pushing in here to shoot the I-7 of the team Feast on in the corner here. It was this one, I believe. Yeah, this I-7 got deleted as the first one. And yeah, ID actually having quite a nice map control like this, but Feast just being very close to each other, being able to support each other. ID not really doing so well on the push. The E100 just losing all of his hit points basically for nothing, and the push really not being too successful because mostly Team ID is also quite split out all over the map. Like, they do have these 2 tanks over there that are just too far to push into these guys. So that was a 2v2 in the middle here, although they could put in some crossfire through the middle road into this I-7 here. But yeah, Feast just being close to each other mostly, and also having quite good positions here, did not allow ID to really push into them. So yeah, although Feast really gave up a lot of map control, they just wanted to make sure that they do not offer any weak spot to the enemy here, because they did have the double caps. They did not even focus so much on securing these caps, because, I don't know, surprisingly ID just went for the push here. Not going for C. I think they could have just sent their Vickers to C. C was unsecured. There was no one there to decap C anymore, so the Vickers would have been free to get C, and then they could have just sent in the E100 into B, and also have like, yeah, the rest of the team go aggressive to secure the E100 there. Just a theory. What could have maybe worked there? I don't know for sure, of course. But it kind of looked like C was uncontested, and the Vickers did have an option there. And the E100 clearly did have to think of something else to do than just to push into the middle of the map. He could have just also gone a little bit safer. Somewhere else, maybe. Maybe I can quickly show you. No, never mind. Never mind. Okay, I guess the explanation should be fine here. Okay, next match. Dynasties Pro. Okay, that was the aggressive I7 YOLO here. He already lost 2 shots worth of hit points. Let's try to figure out what was ID's game plan here. I wanted to send in this I7, and they were probably thinking something like this. This I7 can just cover from the back like this, behind this little thing. Not a lot of cover, but maybe that was just their aim, to just send this I7 here into this very small spot. And if this I7 got pushed onto by Team Feast, then ID would have all their tanks being ready to shoot them down. And they were planning on just punishing everyone pushing in, and therefore making it basically impossible to push this I7. And Feast would have definitely been in temptation of just going for this I7 here, as they were. Yeah, this I7, of course, really offering a weak spot. I've mentioned this already. Problem here was that this I7 could just get focused out. Meanwhile, we're seeing, it was actually a really nice thing to see all these cross shots flying through here. But okay, meanwhile, Feast was going in with different kind of tanks. They had like all their tanks going in and everyone just putting out one shot and retreating. Therefore, no one of the Team Feast could really get focused, except for these M6 which ID did not really know about just yet. They were aware of that in a few seconds, that these M6 were quite isolated and could get pushed onto. Good read of the situation here by Team ID. No, they're actually not really going for it. It's just the M6 trying to shield right now. But look what's happening. Actually, also E100 lost a ton of hit points already. Lani here. Probably this one on the left side here. But these guys from Feast, they don't really have to overcommit. Of course, one I7 got focused a little bit harder than the others. But yeah, they have everyone set up to focus out one tank, while ID does have, well, they do have, in this area, they do have 3, 4, maybe 5 tanks at max to shoot this I7. Let's say it's rather 4 tanks. Rather 4 tanks to shoot one, while Feast does have 6 or even 7 tanks to shoot one I7. This Yo just moving up there to make sure that this I7 wouldn't just go up and run away there. But yeah, that was the biggest issue here for ID. Also the tank choice here with the double E100. They did have a big alpha gun, but not the, yeah, they did not really have a ton of DPM on the field. They just got focused out because, like, you know, E100 turret is also not really the strongest. You don't have a ton of armor. You do have hit points, you do have some armor, of course, but an E100 turret to any pro player is quite easy to penetrate, especially if you do have a tank with a lot of penetration, like most heavy tanks do. Yep, so E100 suffered, could not cover the IS-7. IS-7 suffered. could not survive long enough. The M6 you're desperately trying to YOLO in and shield his platoon mate, not platoon mate, but his teammate here. But that only resulted in ID offering a second weak spot to Team Feast. As soon as this I7 got killed here, it was possible for Feast to just kill the YO. Just after that. So yeah, as you can see here, he is really suffering here. It was not really paying off here. That was already the defeat of Team ID here. They lost 3 tanks in about no time. Although the hit points, yeah, not too much in the favor of Team Feast just yet, but the tanks or the gun advantage is, yeah, is telling everything here. And focus fire also, you can see, was just not as perfect for Team ID there. Some tanks, or all of them now, are low on hit points, but it was not really possible for the Team ID to really focus on any single one of the Team Feast teammates there. Another really strong performance by Team Feast. As it's Team ID, I'm steadily saying Team Feast. Okay, Feast here dominating clearly, but ID also really offering a weak spot to their opponents on every single game so far. It was not entirely up to Feast to winning this. It was sometimes also just up to ID to losing these games because of doing some mistakes. And Feast just had a rather safe playstyle. They did not do any weird YOLO moves that they were not able to realize. Yeah, as ID was. This one was also quite interesting. We're getting closer to the next live games, by the way. So a couple of minutes until the room invite, but yeah, we still have enough time to analyze this one. As it was a 4-0 win steamroll, well, we do have a lot of time to analyze each and every single battle into depth here. This one was an interesting one, which stuck to my mind a little bit. The FE42, first of all, interesting choice. If there are a lot of super heavies, a lot of M60s, the FE42 can literally penetrate every single tank with hash. Can do anyways, but like M60, every spot that you can pen with AP can get hashed as well with the FE42. Which is, yeah, a really nice thing to do, of course, as you then do have like 4,400 DPM, which is just amazing. FE also just offering the mobility advantage to just capture base C real quick. But now I want to stop here. Why is that? Because we have double VK90 here and a mouse behind, which does not have a lot of DPM. Meanwhile, there's only one mouse over there. Most of the Feast team. I was wondering here, how was ID not able to just clear these 2 tanks and win this game? Let's have a look. There were some bounces involved, but okay. There can't be everything. I'm not going to pronounce that name. What is that name of the VK90? Sugu and Mugu. Sugu and Mugu. No, I'm not going to try anymore. Sorry, man. Impronounceable name. All right, let's move on. This guy, though, Sugu, is just able to retreat here after just getting shot like 2 times or getting penetrated 2 times. He's just able to retreat out of this. And ID, they are having only like 4 tanks in front of them that are all, of course, they do hurt the 460 alpha guns, but they all have very low DPM, which is the main thing here that you have to consider. While, yeah, ID does have M60 over here, E100, every tank here, except for the i7, of course, can just outtrade the enemies because of DPM or clipping potential, or not necessarily DPM, but you know, alpha. Big damage versus small damage. That's the point. They can just overpeak and just shoot out the VKs. They really had to make sure that this guy just got away for free. While yeah, ID also now having the mouse over there getting focused and losing even more hit points than the VK90. Although it was ID to do the first move and do the push here. This mouse also might be being a little bit too aggressive here. But yeah, I don't really get how it took ID longer to kill one VK90 than Feast needed to kill one mouse, while ID was the first one to make a move. Now the biggest issue was also that, I mean, the hit points are pretty much neck and neck. They are even right now. But yeah, ID not putting out any damage for the next 10 seconds, while Feast is still steadily chipping away the hit point pool of the team ID here. And that was just an issue. That was really an issue here. Of course, they could focus out the FE42 now, but by now they already have a big hit point deficit. And by focusing out the FE42, they also got themselves into bad positions here. Had to go for the VK90 now and the i7 on the other side, but yeah, they were not really able to just do so and turn around this game anymore. Because they just lost too many hit points. They are also elegant disadvantage. And they are just, yeah, split up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that was already it for this game. That was already it. But if we are, as I currently have the map still open, if we are seeing this, like, Feast was mostly in this area, had two tanks over there, a mouse over there. ID was pushing in, not able to clear these VKs before Feast was pulling over from all over here to kill a mouse tank there. I don't know how that happened. That should not have happened at all. I could have actually just shown this also. I want to maybe point out one last thing as we still have a second before, or like 3 minutes until we get the next room invite. On Black Goldville, with the E100 pushing in the middle, yeah, Feast was having their tanks over here, an IS-7 over here, and the FE42 surprisingly dropped into the middle, which was quite dangerous here. Really quite dangerous to do for the FE42 in the late game, while there was an M6 pushing over here, Vickers over there, and the rest of the team of Team ID getting over there. Like this, there should have actually been a really nice map control for ID. Let's draw it in. Like, this was the map control that ID had in the end, and Feast was just in this little area. Not even having the C cap here. So, oh, wrong button. So yeah, the Vickers could have just gone for C. E100 could have dropped into B. The rest of the team ID just did not really have to push in here if they were able to capture B and C. They just needed to make sure that if the E100 got decapped, every single one decapping should get punished quite a lot there. All right. Yeah, not having the room invite just yet. But all right, I don't know. That this E100 move here in the middle. Yeah, you can still see the strat thing. E100 just moved through the middle like this. It just got clapped from every little imaginable angle here. If the E100 maybe decided to move to the outer side like this, he would have been safer to do so because he would not face hull down tanks like this. And he would have the containers over here to cover him. He could just get closer, a lot safer. Another option would have really been E100 into B, M6O, and M6O covering him from this side. Vickers going for C, others just shooting out everyone over there. There was only 50B decapping B, no one else. And the FE42 was isolated in the front. So if the E100 went down there, I think Feast were in bad positions to win this game. They just did not have the best positions to really decap all the bases, actually. But yeah. I mean, all of what I'm saying is just easy to analyze after the game. While you're in the game, is obviously not as easy. And that also needs a lot of experience if you want to do the right decision then in the right moment, and to just intuitively always go for the right option. Definitely not an easy thing to do. That's what also separates the top 4 teams mostly to the lower top 8. The top 4 players, I've played with some of them on one team. These people, they just see by the setup, okay, the enemies are going there and there, and they do know the reaction, how to react immediately. So that is really something that, like, the lower part of top 8 teams mostly have to really learn then by playing over and over again. And by no means I was in top 4. I was not on the level in my tournament time. I did not get there, but I had the option to play with some experienced top 8 players, top 4 players as well, to teach me a little thing about how to play tournaments on a good level. Alright, we still have a couple of minutes to go until we're heading into the next game. Should be starting at 2 p.m. So it's actually 4 minutes plus. So we do still have yeah, we do have 3 minutes, 2 minutes until the room invite, and then I can also tell you something about the next strats, the maps that we are going to see, and also the teams that we are going to see there. All right. So I've seen current rankings, but what are actually like the top teams? Maybe you can help me there. What are the best teams right now? I've got to admit, really, I have not seen too many Asia streams recently, and I can only compare to the EU meta, and I was just helping out today as Wild Ones was not able to stream. I just jumped in and went for the stream here. I was happy to do so, but I'm a noob when it comes to Asian gameplay. I'm not too familiar with all these teams. I've seen them in the past, like I've seen E7, Feast, ID, but also RN, WoT Nova. Why are there actually so many Asian teams or players with German names? That's surprising. I see that over and over again. Question is whether I am following Feast or ID. I would guess that I'm following Feast. I mean, Wargaming is mostly showing like the favorites of the tournament on their streams. They are not really going for the rather unknown clans. So I would guess that the next game is going to be Feast versus GV, the Great Viet. It would be my guess. I don't know for sure. I would expect so. Wargaming is always being, yeah, very secretive about the information that they provide. They could just tell me what teams am I going to follow. Something. No. Okay. Yeah, we should actually have the room invite by now. Yep. And we do have a room invite already. It's Feast versus... Oh, what? Why does it... Oh, maybe I was on the wrong day. I've seen that. I've looked at October 7. Not GV, but it is Feast versus Soul. Alright, Normandy is our next map. Okay, I will quickly fill up my coffee as we still have a few minutes. Okay. Normandy. Let's get back to it. Normandy. And here we go. 1 minute left to go. And we are seeing FV42 ready to up for Feast. Interesting to see that tank over and over again in the new meta since it got buffed. Just a little bit more mobility was needed actually to make this tank worth it for most teams. And we are also seeing triple M60 double I7 VK90 for Feast. Oh, going for 1 E5 double M60 Vickers light tank. AMX 50B object 260. Interesting choice. Kranwagen as well. So yeah, most likely or mostly teams are moving towards the upper area of the map. This is usually a little bit better. You can send some tank towards B, but on B you really risk getting shot down. And if you're really committing to BA, then you just don't really have any map control and just takes you too long to get back up. A is an option, so often we are seeing like a heavy moving over there, something maybe going for B or rather going passive to the upper part of the map. So that is, at least from my experience from the EU teams, and also quite often we are seeing some tanks being at a bunker in the back to just decap A, although that's not really possible to do consistently. But yeah, quite often we're still seeing some medium tank camping over there. But that's not going to happen this time. The FE42 moving up rather. Is the Kranwagen heading towards the middle? No, it's the Vickers going for a quick spot. And he is just yodeling through, not trying to risk too much, spotting up this IS-7 only. FE-42 rather stays in the back here. Interesting choice here to have this FE-42 camping over there. I don't know. He does have shots onto B, but that's it pretty much. He can still rotate anywhere. I-7 already going quite aggressively into the middle area here. This plain area really offering some good high down positions. I would say the positions are better from the other side. FE-42 putting a sneaky hash into the side of this M60 here. Not even getting spotted for this as he is so far away on the red line. There is another big hash shot flying in here. And these Kranwagens are confused. They are turning their turret. Where is this coming from? The FE-42 though not getting spotted there. And just making sure that this I-7 is secured there. Also, at the same time, we are seeing Feast rolling in over here, being super aggressive on the upper part of the map, going for this E5 here. The E5 recently nerfed will probably not survive for too long, but it will also mean that Feast is really getting themselves into tricky positions here, as they are committing 3 tanks, pulling them away from the fight, which should lead to a counter push in the plain area here by Team Ho. Just rolling in right now. The Kran, unfortunately, getting set on fire while trying to shoot the IS-7 and hitting his teammate only. The M60 only having 1 shot. This IS-7 is not going to go down anytime soon, although the next M60 is being reloaded, and it is another miss or bounce here. I don't know how many shots bounced or missed this IS-7. It was at least 1 tank worth of hit points that I've seen being missed here. The AMX 50B just got out of trouble, but look at the amount of tanks that host just lost there. Can I just call them hosts, or am I getting demonetized for this? I don't know. I don't know. Object 260 is still alive here in the back. They are still the 50B alive, but he is getting bullied by the IS-7. Not able to survive for any longer here. He won't have the time to reload his clip before getting killed, I guess. Yeah, that's it. That's it for him. Alright. Interesting gameplay here by Feast with the camping FE-42. Well, it paid off. It paid off. Asian server is the only server where you really see Mets camping. Not really, but I've seen that for a long time ago when it was very uncommon for mediums to really be in the back. Oh, this trial doing 0 damage here. 3 shots missed. Yeah, there were so many missed shots onto the IS-7 in the plain area there. That was just hilarious. I don't know how that could happen. That was just, yeah. That was just, I don't know. They just bounced everything. But yeah, an IS-7, of course, since it got kind of buffed, silent buff on the last update there. Its sights are so annoying now, and yeah, he bounced so many shots there where you are quite sure of being able to penetrate, as the weak spots on the side are small or even smaller than many tanks' lower plates. Next game. Again, we are seeing an FE-42 for Feast. Triple M60 this time. They are playing with a small gun, by the way, therefore having a lot of DPM also, and a troll armor. Double IS-7s also, and a VK90. Hose going for double mouse, double 113. Interesting choice. Lots of DPM, yet not really having reliable armor on the field. Also, like, the traverse speed is what is really messing up the 113s mostly. 150B, a Vickers for the spots, and an IS-7 also. Okay. Let's see. So, FE42 not going for the red line. Maybe he is. He's just turning circles. Okay. Interesting. Vickers again. Just heading towards the middle for the initial spot here. Snaky spots without risking too much. Getting a few more spots in this time. Feast maybe doing almost the same strategy here. This time the FE42 is actually in the corner position where Ho maybe does not expect him to be. But like this, the FE42 might not really have the best shots as it does not have any premium ammunition with high penetration, and he is now facing the tanks rather frontally, so he can only be useful if hoes are deciding to go for a push. Does not really look like it, as Feast really does have a ton of tanks right in front of them. It would probably not be the best option for hoes to just push into them, but they are doing so. What about the I-7 in the middle? It would be quite a lot more isolated than pushing into 6 tanks over here. But alright, hoes are committing to this, and they are maybe regretting their choices already, as they just lost a ton of hit points for, yeah, chipping away 1 shot worth of hit point from the Yo. Now getting in a few more shots here, as Feast is deciding to counter push the 113 immediately, not hesitating with this one. The 113 actually with the speed boost also, and the adrenaline, but not surviving for much longer here. Next 113 to get focus. 113 is really offering kind of weak spots here in the lineup, as they easily get shut down. If they're not even able to use their DPM, then they are really not the strongest tanks in the game. VK90 here in a 1v1 against a very full mouse. He was shooting the other mouse. Not a miss though, not a miss. But by now, already 3 tanks are the only ones left for Team Ho. Only the 50B on the side are the Vickers. Nah. This push here was not really, oh, there's the last one, not really the best option in my opinion. There were so many tanks just in front of Team Ho that it was just, I don't know what they were thinking to just push into them. They had the information, yet they committed to it, especially the 113s here. Yeah, they were just rolling in, losing all the hit points and not getting to do anything there. It's actually hard to tell what Ho was expecting to get done by this. They maybe thought they could just crossfire someone still being in the cap. Something like that would have maybe been possible for them. I don't know. Okay, we're changing maps actually. So we are heading over to Port Bay now. Let's quickly load the strat star so we can have a quick look at it. So lineup right now, lots of super heavies on the field for Ho again. So super heavies mostly being taken into the city area actually. It is possible to go for an aggressive A-sided strat while still having some tanks in the back like this. Maybe. You don't want to give up all the map control, so mostly teams are not deciding to go full A, but just rather sending some tanks towards A and having others still camp in the back. Same would go for the other side, so you can maybe still get in some decapping shots of C. B is a very tricky cap to take because there are lots of different decapping positions in different places there that do have angles onto the base B. Yet it is not impossible to capture base B, especially if you have a lot of tanks being set up for punishing everyone trying to decap while sending in a mouse into the middle. It would be possible, but I don't know if we're going to see just that. Let's see. 50B on the side of Feast. They seem... Oh, 50Bs seem to be quite popular again, and connection issues. Hello. Trolling? I guess not. I guess not. AFK. Alright, alright, alright. 50B is doing a dance for us. But let's see what the other these guys are doing here. They should maybe try to go a bit more passively, but they are not doing so. They are not trying to tell their enemies that they are at a disadvantage just yet, hoping for their 50B to move up. I think the 50B just woke up, and Feast already having the corner here with the FE42, T22 over there, another FE42 over there. Interesting lineup here by Feast, but they keep losing hit points already. The 50B slowly moving in. He's coming, he's coming. But it will be interesting. These I7 and the 113 can easily push the FE42. The T22 should maybe rather just escape and let the FE die. No, he's not deciding to do so. F Silver is rolling in to just help out here. They are trying to go for this 3v2, but it is tricky to penetrate the IS-7, especially if you don't have any premium ammunition. It would be better to just go for the 113 here, but the main fight is actually going on the other side here. M60 already getting focused and being low on hit points, but 2 tanks out of the fight for Feast. It's not looking good for Feast here. AMX 50B also not having the armor to bounce any more shots. These I7s being in horrible positions. And the mediums still struggling to take out the 113. Now being able to do so. Although Feast definitely struggled to take out sorry, it's although Feast definitely struggled as they had one AFK at the start. Yeah, they maybe did the wrong decision there by going for the corner with the FE42. I mean, just counter pushing the I7 and the 113. Of course, if they were able to just kill the 113 in no time with some nice hash shots, that would have been a really nice option. Yet the I7 really did a good job of shielding his teammate there in a corner, and the FE42s really struggle with the penetration if they are not having a good angle, as we can also see here. FE42 only hitting one shot, maybe one hash shot, or just failed hash and an AP, something like this, I don't know. The other FE42 being quite successful, but maybe it would have actually been better to just ignore the I7 and 113 and use the FE42s to just outbrawl the middle area. Of course, then you would have the 113 and the I7 in the corner to farm. I7 not too dangerous, 113 having lots of DPM, therefore being quite dangerous to your team. But it would have maybe been an option to just use the FE42's hash DPM to just kill the middle and ignore the corner, as the heavies from Ho would have needed a long time to move up there again. I really don't think that the 50B was really game deciding here. Although it was AFK for the first minute or so, it was just not really able to do a lot after rolling in. Maybe it would have helped if he was not AFK a little bit earlier. Maybe he was also there to go for a shootout of the corner and would have helped for this. I don't know what the exact plan was for the 50B, but I think it was rather about the decisions there and also the weak lineup that Ho was just able to brawl away and they were just able to roll in, and they had the hit points, they had the armor, they did not have to hesitate at all, as Feast did have 3 mediums on the field. Interesting to see an M60 here being picked by Feast. 2-1, by the way, to Feast. First win for Hose. I'm really puzzled by Wargaming not renaming Team Ho. Man. We actually had the same name. Like, we had our BPS team, the first one called Pute. Or Mega Pute, like French for, not a hoe, but bitch. But okay. Just because we found the name funny. But never mind, let's talk about this game. Because here going quite aggressive for an early spot. getting in the spots, but not gaining any serious advantage. Oh, that is an interesting move here. It might backfire though. If he's getting shot down, if he is not getting shot down, then he will have a very annoying position here. But the M60 already being there to crossfire the Vickers while the rest of Team Feast is moving in from over here. That was maybe a little bit too much to handle for him. Yeah, there was already tank gone for Feast. They tried to send up an 7 here as well, and he failed doing... Oh no, there was a Feast actually. But he's also not really successful doing the climb here. Yeah, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Team Ho here on this one. They just lost one tank for free at the start already, and I'm just circling around here too much. Not really focusing enough on the fight, because we want to see this one. This E100 getting focused here, getting shut down, not able to survive any longer. And what was that strat actually? Just the Vickers super aggressive there. It was so easy for Feast to shoot him down. 113, got to the corner, he is able to farm a little bit, but Feast does not struggle at all to just go forward here. And yeah, that was not a successful play here by Team Ho. They just got wrecked here with the DPM of the enemy lineup. The M60 this time not trying to fight off the heavy in the corner there, just moving towards the middle to kill everyone over there. I think this is what Feast should have done on the last game as well. Just abandoning the corner. Yeah, as mentioned already. By the way, to make my point, Megapoots got renamed. Oh, does not? Okay. Okay. Well. Okay. How's here? That was a bit too aggressive. We can see Feast just going for the safe place. Just going for safe play style so far, not really risking anything, and the enemies constantly try to catch them on the wrong foot by just going for an aggressive move. But by that, the enemies like ID or host are just, yeah, they are just dying and isolating their tanks. They are not doing the perfect counter strats for Feast, as Feast is really moving in a pack all the time. They are not splitting up their forces, they are staying close to each other, and the enemies are trying some very weird YOLO stuff to go in here and there, and Feast is like, yeah, no, I don't care about it. I would just kill you off, and then I will go for the next ones. Feast does not care at all about all these YOLO moves there, and yeah, these special tactics by their opponents. Oh, by the way, we are changing the map. 30 seconds to start time. Rockfield. Just so you know what is going to await us here. Rockfield is this map, if you didn't remember. It is 3-1 for Feast. They only have to win one more battle to win this. Okay, we are getting into the game already. All right. Let's see what is going to happen on this one. 50B, interestingly, again, not going for the M60 or the Kranwagen, which most tanks prefer for the autoloaders. 50B offering the mobility advantage and higher alpha gun than the M60, but also, of course, having far less armor. And I don't know if it is always the best choice. IS-7's here moving straight into the B-cap here. And Feast will gain a comfortable cap point advantage by that. Hoes are not able to decap that. They will just get the A cap now, but at the same time, Feast is free to capture base C. But Feast has to make sure that they do cover this I7 here, as it is quite isolated. The 50B won't be able to support too much here, as he would easily get shut down if he overpeaks. Feast now at a comfortable double cap advantage, having some strong holding positions, but still they do have this I7 over here, Mr. James Bond 007, and also Bifrost here. They are IS7s with a lot of armor, but they are quite isolated. There is the 50B behind, but if there was a full YOLO push onto Bifrost and Juicy, and then it would not really work out, I guess. But actually, hoes are not deciding to do so. They are going sneaky mode, trying to just rotate over to C, but they are getting tagged on the crossing. All of them are spotted, and that's what you really don't like to see. If you are on a rotation, you really don't want to be spotted. The Vickers here doing a really nice job of spotting up everyone of them, and hoes are losing a ton of hit points on the rotation. And Feast is already counter pushing A, just having found one I7 isolated over there, and they will get A at the same time. They can just clear this I7 in a few seconds. There were some bounces involved still, but this I7 is going down with no dubs, and they will still have the double caps. Even got A before C was getting recapped by hoes. And Feast here going aggressive into a 1v1, that's maybe not the best option. They also lost some tanks, left some tanks alone on the C side here, with the M60 facing the 113. He does actually have the big gun. Gets in 2 big shots here, worth of 1k damage. But yeah, cap points. Keep an eye on the cap points. 900 points to Feast. 900 points to Feast. Also, the hit points definitely in the favor of Feast, and this IS7 just defending the base here. Just has to survive for a little bit longer and can possibly shoot down the 113. Nope, that was a bounce from Spartan. The other IS7 did not miss him. He did go for the T22 over there, and that was a very comfortable win to Feast. They did not struggle at all to win this one. They did have the double caps. Hoes got spotted on the rotation, and Feast could just immediately recap base A, shooting down everyone on the crossing there from their team. Oh, guys, that's it already. That's it. I guess we are not going to see any more live battles, but as on the last one, I will still spend some time on the analysis of these battles. I will just fly through these battles and not get into detail as on the last one, as yeah, we had a lot of time there. But we can still point out some highlights. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there are not going to be any more games, any more live games today. So if you're not staying for the live analysis, although it would probably still be interesting, thanks for watching first of all. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, don't forget to hit that like button and show a little bit support to my channel if that is what you want to do. Otherwise, yeah, just thanks for watching. I hope you still enjoy the last part, which is the analysis of the previous games. First of all, GG's to Feast. Really nice plate, and just going for a very safe playstyle. We could really see them not risking anything at all, except for one game on Port Bay where they went for the triple medium lineup and just had the AFK 50B in the back as well. So let's get to the analysis part. Let's just get to the analysis. Yep. I still have the stream open. I'm good. Let's turn on background music again. All right. So, first game was Normandy. That was the game that FE42 camped in the back for Team Feast. So game plan here for ID was to go towards B with a lot of tanks. If there was anyone on B, then these tanks would have just peeked behind and shot down this guy on B. It did not happen. There was no one on B. Therefore, there were 4 tanks quite useless on B here. They could not really do anything. They could not take the base B. They could not take A. I mean, they could take A, but it would just take them really long time there. There was an E5 camping in the back, another, what is it, 50p over there to cover the object 260, which quickly got into base C, D. Yeah, object 260 does have good DPM, does have good mobility, so that was the purpose of the tank here, although it does not have a lot of armor. And actually, the one object 260 got the base at the same time as the 2 tanks on the side of Feast because they were just way slower. But what happened right now is that there was this IS-7 in the middle area. Oh, sorry. Oops. You could still see the stretch screen, which was just showing my my YouTube thing. It's turned off now. Okay. Okay, you didn't miss too much. Just, yeah, all right. Yeah. FE42 camping over there. E5 over there. 260 falling back now, but this I7 in the middle here, that was just the spearhead of Team Feast here. He was the big bait responsible for the spots, and whenever there was anyone pushing into him, he would have the FE42 to the side shooting in the hash shots. M60s here, 3 M60s being ready to just punish anyone getting into the middle. Although they were still quite passive behind, this I7 could afford to go a bit more aggressive and just try to get in spots there. He would not even be able to put in that many shots because he does not have the gun depression in that position there. This FE42, they're really being sneaky, putting in the crossfire into everyone trying to peek onto the IS-7. And this problem of Ho here was really, they hesitated. They didn't know they got shot from the rear, but they could just, by now, they could know there is an FE42 in the back. Still, the IS-7 does not have like tremendous backup. The M60s on the side of Feast here already got spotted moving over there. This guy also not being the biggest support. This I7 was really alone, so it was taking Team Ho quite long. They still had someone capture base A, and now we could see also what I'm always talking about when it comes to this map. If you capture base A, you will need minutes to get back up because you have to move up the hill, and yeah, you're just out of the fight for a very long time. This A cap also probably triggered the push from Team Feast here. They didn't know about the guys in the middle of the map. They didn't know A was getting captured, so they could be just free to kill this E5. He would not really have a lot of backup there. But there's also triggered a counter push here. Now, counter bounces here. First of all, this M60 already shot 2 shots. I7 still full life. This M60 also shot once already. But who was he shooting? This Kranwagen now missing the second shot. And the IS-7 is still almost full life. He got shot like... yeah, he got shot once by one M60. There's 1 shot flying in from the Yo. 2 shots flying in from the Yo. And the next clip will also be like 2 shots only. 1 bounce. Yeah, another penetration. So, what just happened there was just, yeah, there was just this I7 absorbing all the damage there. Oh yeah, this I7 really did a good job there, and Ho really messed up on this one. Let's face it, they really messed up on this push here. It just took them way too long. They bounced way too many shots. They should have done this way earlier. This I7 clearly did not have any backup. Just seeing just seeing with the delay the comments there. Stretch sketch in the way. Okay. But I already fixed it. Yeah. No need for this and for further analysis on this game anymore. I made my point. The push just came way too late. Capturing base A seemed like a good option, but it was just pulling out one tank out of the fight. Alright, next game. No need to spend any more time on the last one. We could clearly see what made Team Ho lose this one. This time it was the FE42 moving into the corner, and we could see a huge misplay, in my opinion, from Team Ho here. They did have these 113s that are quite good for putting out DPM, but they put them into positions where they rather were weak spots instead of damage dealers. And yeah, right now, Hoes do have the cap point advantage. They do have these double mouses here. So what could actually happen here? Also, there is a light tank over here. He is very far from the fight, still going for base A as it seems. No, he decided not to do so, moves up. But there are currently 7 tanks from Feast on the top area, while there are only 6 tanks from Team Ho here that are going for push. Of course, they do not know about the FE42's position. They maybe expect him to still be on the other side as on the game before. But still, Hoes only have 6 tanks over here. And look at the area of the map they are taking. Look at the crossfire that Feast has here. That should already cause some worries here. It would probably be way easier to just kill this I7 here. Although he did have the Yos just behind, would probably be a pain to just kill the I7 with a backup from the Yos there. But at least not everyone could shoot you in the plane area, because there were 4 tanks over there that did not really have shots. There were these Yos quite close, could cover the I7. But if there were like 3 to 4 tanks rolling in, killing the IS-7, while the Moses were still holding the other side, then Hoes would have the tank advantage, cap advantage as well. They still had the Vickers to the side, who could also put in some crossfire into the IS-7. Would have definitely been an option here, in my opinion. Yet Hoes decided to roll in with their 113s here, losing a ton of hit points and not really having anything to push onto. I don't know, if there was like a tank from Feast over here maybe, or over there, then it would have absolutely made sense for these 3 guys to push in. Like this, I did not really get their plan here. They did not really have anyone that they were pushing onto, yet they committed with to it. They should have maybe also just sent in the Mouses first and down the others to the side. Like this, it was clearly not working out, and this was already a really failed push here. Going too aggressive at the start without really having any information, instead of using the information, going for the IS-7. Maybe they were afraid of bouncing him again, I don't know. Now the IS-7 actually getting into the back here, and Feast is just brawling. They are just circling all around the team of Team Hoes and counter pushing immediately, not hesitating at all, because they are well aware of their hit point advantage. By now it is like 4k hit point advantage right now, so that's a really easy win to Feast from now on, as Ho just lost a ton of hit points for not really getting anything done here. Yep, no need to spend any more time on this game again. That was already a defeat within 1 minute. Let's move on to the next game. Skip forward. Skip forward. So, it was the 50B AFK game on this one. I did not really pay attention too much to the lineup here, but very interesting setup here with the FE42 yielding straight into the corner. Interesting choice. But also the other FE42 not following him, but rather going for the spots over here and trying to get in cross shots. I personally do this in randoms quite a lot. If I don't have any turret armor, then I will move towards the middle part of the map and try to just rather get on some cross shots on anyone crossing to the corner first and fighting whatever. But yeah, T22 also helping out in the corner here. 50B so far still in spawn. And hoes are already moving in quite aggressively. But the 113 and the IS-7, especially the IS-7, a really tough enemy for an FE42. As you just really struggle to penetrate it with the APCR. Even with calibrated shells, you struggle with the lower plate in many angles. Sides bouncy AF. 113 can of course get hashed into the frontal plate or into the lower plate. Also into the sides, but the 113 is just hiding behind the IS-7 here. And here was clearly, in my opinion, it was a misplay. Actually, I did not see it. The light tank here, the Vickers light, was just pushing into the rear of Feast. And therefore, Feast had a lot more map control. Also, they did have strong tanks in the corner. Their weak tank just out of the fight, being able to put in some crossfire. So what should have happened here, in my opinion, was clearly the FE42s abandoning the corner, ignoring this IS-7 as it was quite hard to penetrate, and even ignoring the 113 as it was also covered quite well by the IS-7 and they could just outbrawl the middle area. It's really messy here, it's really hard to see, but okay, Feast already lost an IS-7. I just skipped forward to this point because, yeah, it is a little bit easier to see. Look at the lineup here. We did have double M6 Yos and E100s, double E100s on the side of Ho. So all of these tanks are very easy to penetrate with the hash from the FE42s. And therefore, it would have been a really nice move if Feast was just able to get behind them. Of course, it was risky. It was a really risky thing to do, just outbrawling the heavies in the middle area with the mediums, as you could easily get penetrated. But just sending in the IS-7s frontally, FE42 is just behind 50B, also just putting out the clip. Then with the hash DPM, the M6 Yos and the E100s would be gone in no time. I mean, especially the Yos would have been the priority target here to get focused. If they were gone, then it was a win basically. The E100s of course had a lot of hit points, so I can understand the decision to go for the 113 and IS-7, but they were just too hard to penetrate, and majority of the fight was going on over here. Like this, the heavies and the mediums from Team Feast could have played together, could have focused fire together, and could have just cleared the Yos first, cleared the E100s, maybe the Vickers after. Vickers would have probably run away whenever someone was looking at him. It was hard to get this guy. He was having some safe distance. But like this, Vickers was just farming Team Feast from behind, especially the 50B, which arrived quite late. But the 50B now being in the back here, getting shot probably with HE from the Vickers into the rear. And this was quite hopeless. 3v2 in the corner here with the IS-7. Absorbing a lot of shots, like we've seen on the game before already. Yep, this was clearly not working out for Feast here. They were probably also just not really 100% focused with their 50B being AFK for the first minute. And not really exactly sure of what to do. Also maybe struggling with the setup a little bit on the other games. We've seen Feast going for much more heavy setups and very safe setups with a lot of armor, a lot of hit points, and they did really well with these kind of setups. Not perfect. I would not say that they played their strats to perfection, as sometimes, like on the Black Goldville game, they gave up the caps basically, and ID did not see their opportunity there. But still, Feast is really playing a safe game here. They are not trying to risk too much by their lineups nor strategies, unlike their opponents, and that's exactly what we are going to see on the next game again. It was our last game here with the host just going super aggressive here. That's exactly what happened in just a few seconds with the Vickers. He was doing a good job of spotting first. I don't know if that spot was actually necessary, because it was, okay, it was giving the information to Team Home, but it could kind of be expected, as he is the favorite side for most teams. And now we are already seeing this very aggressive YOLO at the start here. Yeah, a little bit premature here, this move, to just get onto this hill where he cannot really cover. We are seeing Bifrost already moving over here, getting in cross shots from over there, and we are seeing the rest of Feast moving in over here. I don't know if Team Ho tested this in a training. They should have probably known that this was quite easy to counter. But Feast surprisingly doing the exact same thing here with the IS-7, but an IS-7, of course, not as easy to kill as a Vickers. And yet the IS-7 got killed, but that also meant that the whole team was just turning for this one IS-7, and the rest of Team Feast, all these tanks over here, could just have 3 shots into the back and into the sides of all these tanks turning for the IS-7. So it was kind of worth it. For the Vickers, it was not, because the Vickers just died way too quickly and could not really survive long enough for the teammates to deal a lot of damage. Also, like, the teammates of the Vickers were just too slow, as they were heavy tanks and he was a light tank. They were just not yet in position to farm off the enemies before he was gone. By that, it was already won for Feast. Was a strong performance again here by Feast, not struggling at all, clearing this gun out early and punishing every single mistake. That's what Feast was doing best at so far. Well, that's pretty much it. That was our last game here. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for watching. Also, Netforce, I've seen your message. Thanks a lot, man. Alright. Alright. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. That's it with today's stream. And yeah, I'm not going to stream Asia again and within this tournament, as it is Wild One's job mostly. So see Wild One server for the next streams then again. I hope I was still able to make up for him not being here, and could still offer you some good tournament experience. And yeah, if that's the case, don't forget to hit that like button before leaving. Thanks for watching again. See you soon, maybe on some other streams of mine. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.